Hi, my name's Corinne, and I'm here to present my high and low incident disabilities. I chose ADHD and ASD. First up, we have ADHD, which is also known as attention deficit disorder and hyperactivity disorder. IDEA defines ADHD as having limited strength, vitality, or alertness, including heightened alertness to environmental stimuli that results to limited alertness with respect to the educational environment, which basically just means that they are more likely to get distracted by the things around them, such as people walking by them and stuff like that, rather than staying focused on the tasks that they need to accomplish in the classroom. Characteristics: they fail to pay close attention, difficulty organizing tasks, easily distracted, they talk excessively, they fidget a lot, and they have difficulty waiting. About 5% of children ages 2 to 17 are diagnosed with ADHD. They do have academic support, direct and systematic instructions, make sure the instructions are straight to the point. This will help the student feel less frustrated with trying to figure out what they have to do for the assignment. It will get them less distracted, put them right to starting, and maybe it will just lessen the frustration for the students. A psychiatrist: this is someone that will provide them medication if needed, someone to talk to maybe try and figure out other ways to maybe not get so distracted. Like back a couple of years ago, there was the fidget spinner where they would play with during class to try and fidget but still pay attention. Additional time is only if the IEP allows it. This will help students relax a little bit with things that they can't help, like getting distracted very easily, so they have a little bit more time to accomplish their tasks or tests. But they also need to realize that they do not have all the time in the world, so it's kind of got to be a balance a little bit. Rewarding good behavior: this will motivate the student to continue to do the right thing. This just means that, they feel when they do something good and they get a reward for it, or even praise, they feel good and they want to continue to do it. So to do that will help motivate them to want to do the right thing more. A teacher helper: this is a teacher that is assigned to the student to keep them focused, refocus them if they get distracted, help them, maybe take them on a little break if they need. Um, Behavioral support: there are a bunch of different research-based interventions that you could choose from, but a possible issue that could occur is they get easily distracted while the teacher is giving directions or completing the assignments. A research-based intervention that could be implemented to help lessen this issue is a class pass. A class pass gives the student a limited number of passes to take a break from their work. This gives the student the ability to do what they need to do in order to be able to focus again. There are other ways to lessen this issue, such as sit the student in a less trafficked area, like not by a pencil sharpener where people are constantly moving by there, maybe like in the front corner by the teacher's desk where no one's walking by really, or just someplace that's less trafficked. They also can keep the directions simple so that the student's not frustrated with trying to figure out what the assignment's asking and they already know. Technology assistant: there are plenty of examples of software that will help students with ADHD, such as word prediction, which predicts the word the writer is trying to type, a speech synthesizer, which displays and reads aloud the text on screen, optical character recognition: this scans handouts onto handhelds and then it's read aloud to the student. Talking calculators: built-in speech synthesizers that reads aloud each number, symbol, or operation key a student presses, as well as the answer. Speak recognition programs: allows a student to read aloud into a microphone and see his words appear on a computer screen. An example is scanning handouts onto an iPad to have it read aloud for the student using. Quictionary 2 scanning translator is just one app of many that you could choose from. Diversity for ADHD. The risk factor for Black or African American students ages 2 to 21 is 1.4 more times likely. For white students ages 6 to 21, 1.2 more times likely for them to be diagnosed. And for students ages 6 to 21 with 2 or more races, it's 1.1 more times likely to be diagnosed. Advocacy for ADHD: One option is CHAD. It's a social movement. It seeks to shape the conversation on how society treats, accommodates, views people affected by ADHD, and it's demonstrated commitment to diversity in all its forms. Another one is the AACAP, American Association of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. It's an organization that helps support and give resources to those diagnosed with ADHD and their families. It educates, supports, and elects candidates for Congress who advocate for child and adolescent psychiatry and children mental health. Um, they are a way to get resources if you need, educate yourself, um, anything that you might need have questions on, they're there to answer, like they're there to help. They're just a way to get ADHD out there as to normalize it. Next up, we have ASD, which is also known as the autism spectrum disorder. The IDEA sees it as a single disorder and defines ASD as having a developmental disability significantly affecting verbal and nonverbal communication and social interaction. However, parents and professionals have adopted a spectrum for autism based on conditions such as autism, childhood disintegrative disorder, Asperger's syndrome, Rett syndrome, pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified. Characteristics: ongoing social problems that include difficulty communicating and interacting with others. This could also be they fail or are slow to respond to their name or other verbal attempts to gain their attention. They are slow to develop gestures such as pointing and showing things to others. They develop a language at a delayed pace. They learn to communicate using pictures or their own sign language. They speak only in single words or repeat certain phrases over and over. They're unable to combine words into meaningful sentences, repeat words or phrases they hear, use words that seem odd, out of place, or have special meaning known only to those familiar with the child's way of communicating. Repetitive behaviors as well as limited interests or activities. 3 restrictive and repetitive behaviors: repeating certain behaviors or having unusual behaviors, having overly focused interests such as moving objects or parts of objects, and having a lasting intense interest in certain topics such as numbers, details, or facts. Symptoms that typically are recognized in the first 2 years of life, and the symptoms that hurt the individual's ability to function socially at school or work or in other areas of life. About 0.8% of children in the school population are diagnosed with ASD. There's academic support, there's intervention with special education. They work with the students so that they remain on task. They may be taken to a separate classroom to do some activities. It's the instructions are a little bit more based on what the child needs. If they lose focus, they can, help. These teachers can help put them back on track. Additional time, same as basically ADHD, it's based on their IEP. They can get extra time, but they need to also realize that they don't have all the time in the world to finish, so they need to try and do their correct, do as much as they can in the time that they have with trying to keep themselves in line. Reward good behavior. Again, same as ADHD, this will motivate the student to continue to do the right thing. If they get something right and they will want to continue to get things right, so they'll try harder. Give choices. This gives the student an option to do what they find will work best for them. So say there's an assignment, maybe you give them an option to do it on the iPad, written or verbally. At least they have control of that, and that they feel that if they can control it, they will maybe able to do better. Behavioral support, again, there's plenty of research-based interventions for this. A possible issue could be the student may get frustrated and be disruptive because they are unable to understand the material, or for many other reasons. It doesn't just have to be understanding material. It could be that they got it wrong or anything like that. But a good research-based intervention that could be implemented would be the Incident physical exercise. This will help the student get out of his frustration and then reinstate focus. basically they're taken outside the classroom to maybe do like 10 minutes of like physical exercise just to get like their mind, like get the energy out, get their frustration out, and then they can come back and hopefully focus again. Technology assistance. There are plenty of examples of software that will help students with ASD, such as organizational, AAC devices, optical character recognition, talk and calculated speech recognition programs. An example I chose was an app that allows a student to select a picture to have it read aloud the words that they are trying to say. So they basically click on the picture of the word that they're trying to get out to, that they're trying to say, and if once they click it, it will say it will come through the iPad or a laptop. There are plenty of apps like that. It's not hard to find one. Diversity for ASD. The risk factor for students, for white students is age 6 to 21 is 1. For Black or African American students is ages 6 to 21, it's 1.1 more times likely. And same for students with ages 6 to 21 with 2 or more races, it's 1.1 more times likely for them to be diagnosed. Advocacy for ASD. The number one is Autism Speaks. I'm sure everyone knows it. Their goals are to increase global understanding and acceptance. They want to build a kinder, more inclusive world for all people on the spectrum. Being a catalyst for life-enhancing research breakthroughs. This will find things that work for people with ASD and hopefully empower more personalized treatments and therapies. Increasing early childhood screening and timely interventions. This can improve a child's overall development and future outcomes. If it's found earlier, they can figure out how to work with the student and what they need. Improving the transition to adulthood. Basically helping them learn life skills that they're going to need to know in more than just like the curriculum of the school. Ensuring access to reliable information and services through the lifespan. They offer online resources for transition, employment, education, housing, and community living. The other one's GRASP. It's a non-profit 501c3 organization, provides support, education, and programs for individuals on the autism spectrum, related disabilities, and their families. Educating the larger community, they advocate for fair representation of autistic and disabled adults and teens in the media and public policy, for reaching students in need. There's a network of regional support groups, online chat groups, so that any student in need they have free access to it if they're available at any time. Advocating for a network of support, same as the other ones, online resources, online support groups, regular support groups, advocating for individuals on the spectrum. They have in-school programs for autistic and disabled students. They learn independent living, transition skills, self-advocacy, communication, and interpersonal relationships, and social interaction. That's the end of my presentation. These are the references that I used. It continues onto this page. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Hope you enjoyed it and learned some things. Thank you. Bye.